Good morning, everybody. It is my honor to be here today and kick off these 2 days, which hopefully will bring a lot of talent, experiences, and those 3 different thinkings that John was talking about. I've been in the fashion business for over 20 years, and it's a very exciting industry, but it's not a very popular one. It's the second most polluting industry in the world. And currently, I think there's a lot of ways that we need to look at the way we do business, all of us, to make sure we are addressing the situation of the world. So the points that I'm going to talk today, it's about sustainability and circularity. And I adventure to say that it doesn't matter what job you have, what company you work for, what country you do, but I think this is very relevant for all of us. So what are we doing here? What are we all doing here? So hopefully, we're all here to inspire each other and look at options on how to do things differently so that we don't only focus on profit, so we focus on the triple bottom line. People and planet are as important as profit. As I said, the fashion business that I've been living for the last over 20 years, I keep saying to my friends, the only reason why I'm still in fashion is because I feel there's a lot to do to change this industry, which is great, and we all want to look great, but we got to do it in a more sustainable way. So I'm going to address sustainability and circularity from this industry, but hopefully it's going to be relevant for all of you, even though you're in different industries as well, okay? First of all, congratulate everybody, and hopefully you know that today is the World's Ocean Day. I don't know if you're very aware of that, but when I accepted to come here, I had no idea today was going to be the World's Ocean Day, which is a very important day for us at North Sales because we're very committed to the ocean conservation. So I don't know if you have some of those statistics, but one that I learned is that every other breath that we take comes from the ocean, so 50% of the oxygen comes from the ocean. We only know 10% of what's happening in the ocean, and it's one of the key drivers of the health of the planet, okay? So, are you guys aware of the Overshot Day? Can I just get a hands up, whoever knows what Overshot Day is? Okay, all right. So let me just give you a quick introduction. It's actually the day in the year that we have consumed the natural resources of the Earth, okay? So just to give you an idea, last year, on the 29th of July, we had finished the resources of the Earth for all the people that will live here. So basically, we needed 1.7 Earths. But the year before, it was 1 month later, so we're going worse and worse. My big shock was, and I'm not expecting you to read this, but my big shock is I'm Spanish, and I was in Madrid a month ago, and suddenly I woke up on a Sunday, and I do this thing that you're not supposed to do, to check the news straight away, and I realized Spain had already hit the Overshot Day in May, okay? And then I realized each country has an Overshot Day. So when you look at this, basically all Europe is before June, except some changes, and then you probably get Jamaica in December, So basically, we're not in the right way. So it doesn't matter if you're in fashion or not, the world does not have enough resources for us to keep behaving, consuming, and living the way we do it, okay? So I think that's, to me, the main statement, and this is science. So let me tell you a few facts about the fashion industry. Maybe some of them you already know, but we are the world's second largest clean water polluter. We're also the second largest consumer of water worldwide. We actually emit 10% of the world carbon emissions, which is the whole transport of planes and boats together. It's pretty shocking. And also, we create 80 billion garments every year, so we've done 400,000 more clothes than 20 years ago. I wish I could have other industries, but I bet you there's a lot of industries having similar numbers. So in 20 years, we have multiplied our consumption, in that way, okay? More facts. The equivalent of one garbage truck full of clothes is dumped to the ocean, basically, or a landfill every minute of every hour, of every day, of every week, of every month. It is shocking, really. But we're still producing 21 billion of tons of waste every year. This is one of my favorites. The T-shirts that we buy, the cotton T-shirts, they actually need an average of 2,500 liters of water from the growth of the cotton to the washes, the dyeing and everything, 2,500 liters of water. If you put perspective that a person drinks 8 glasses of water a day, that is 3.5 years of water of one person. So really, next time we buy a T-shirt and we say, oh, it's really cheap, I wear it 3 times, then I throw it away, that's the water of a person 3.5 years. If we look at a pair of jeans, that's 15,000, that's 10 years of water. Okay, I'm just trying to put perspective on why we need to do things differently. I could go on forever, which I won't bore you with all my numbers, but I mean, really, the fashion industry needs to rethink about the way we do. But now let's talk about us, because it's not only on the companies that do fashion. I mean, we are all consumers, right? So let me give you some numbers on us. On average, we wear our garments 7 times. I know some of you will do more, but the average, and I think women are kind of guilty on this, but it's 7 times any clothes that we buy. Each of us generate 35 kilos of waste, okay? We wear only 30% of our closet, but we're still buying more and more. And this is very important. Every time we wash our garments, we actually release 500,000 tons of microfibers into the ocean. This is just washing and it just gets to the ocean. And the problem is those little microfibers, you can't pick them up. You know, the fish eat them, they get everywhere, they go to the bottom of the ocean, so it is an issue, okay? And 35% of all the microplastics in the ocean are supposed to come from the fashion, from the washes and the fashion industry. So we do have a problem, right? So time is now. I mean, we cannot wait any longer, and we need to reimagine the way we do business. And this is very important because we'll talk later about some of the things we do well, but there's a lot more to do than just organic cotton or recycle. So we need to start that net zero journey. And for me, really what is very important is that companies, we need to go on a journey of net zero and carbon positive. I mean, that's really, I keep saying, you know, this buzzword of sustainability that we all hear all the time. Being sustainable is not good anymore. That means we're living the world in the way we found it, right? You do something sustainably, then you leave it as you found it. But it's already negative. I just show you the overshot day. So we're already negative, so we gotta do something to actually be positive. Very important for me, and I really, if something you wanna get out of here today is look for progress, not perfection. In the world that I live, there's a lot of conversations around, well, but this is not perfect. We are not perfect at North Sales. We're doing our best. But every season, we try to do better the collections. We try to do better our logistics. We try to do more things around our e-commerce, like plastic-free packaging. All these things every time is stepping ahead of the game and try to get better, because perfection doesn't exist. Perfection is we all close our business, we go home, and then we don't do anything wrong with the planet. But obviously that's not what we're here for, and that's not what we want. So I wanted to share this vision from the Global Fashion Agenda, which I think is important for this conference today. Together, we must work towards a thriving industry that creates prosperity for all people and communities by working within planetary boundaries, reversing its impact on climate change and protecting biodiversity. So if you take away the Global Fashion Agenda, honestly, just put your company, put your business, I think this can work. Because I think we need to do business, but we need to do it in a way that we don't impact our future generations, okay? So we need to reinvent the way we do business, so how we do the day-to-day business. But to me, what is super important is to reinvent the business models. Because, again, for example, going back to fashion, if we do, imagine now we don't do any more virgin cotton. We just do recycled cotton, organic cotton. But we keep putting 12, 50, some companies do 50 collections a year, which is insane, right? There's this new company in China called Shine, which is driving me crazy. This is a new company that has been launched in China. They're launching 1,000 styles a day. I didn't get this wrong. 1,000 styles, who needs 1,000 styles a day, right? So that's all going back to landfill. So what I'm saying is, if those 1,000 styles a day were on recycled materials, people would say, well, it's sustainable, they're doing well. No, they're not, because this is a business model that is not sustainable, okay? So the things that I encourage to look on a top line is how the brands behave. We need to be more responsible on how we address our brands and our consumers. How do we create that customer experience? Again, it's not about come in, buy quickly, and go out again and come back next month. No, buy less and buy better, and work it more time, and buy from companies that actually have the right purpose and the right values, and that they're really committed to be responsible. Those are the brands that you need to be buying. The value chains, there's a lot to talk here around how do we produce, how do we transport, which are the partners that we work with, how we design our offer. I mean, in my case, it's collections, but any of the products that you manage, how do we design them? How many do you need to offer? What happens with the ones that you don't sell? What do you do with them? The collaborations and partnerships start in here, but every single supplier, every single partner that touches our company have to have the same commitment in the level that they can. Remember, it's not perfection, it's progress, but if they're committed to get better, that's what we need. And then they go to market. How do we go to market? At what time? When do we produce? How many risks do we take? What's the forecast that we actually take to buy the product? So everything, and pricing and promotion, let's not push, in my case, I know this is not very diplomatic, but it's the truth. If we keep pushing promotion for people to buy what they don't need, they'll end up putting it in the closet on that 70% that you don't wear, and eventually we'll get to landfill, right? So we need to be responsible. And I know it's tricky because we all need to deliver the bottom line, okay, the profit. So, but it is part of our responsibility. So what I encourage on financing and et cetera, et cetera. So each of your businesses, you have to decide what to do. One of the things I always recommend is, if you're not aware of the SDGs, this is what the United Nations committed to do by 2030. And what we've done in North Sales is to say, okay, from everything that the world is committed, we can commit to these 5, because it relates to us on the consumption, on the production, on the life below water, etc. So starting from here, for me, is a good way of having a company saying, this is the way we're going to go, and this is our commitment, and then how does that look like? So for us, we create a sustainable platform that, in this case, we want to be ocean positive. So for us, it's very important to leave the ocean in a better way than we found it, right? So just to share with you, our initiative is, I don't know if you know, but the corals are critical for all our lives. And it looks like by 2050, there's a very high risk that the corals may be the first ecosystem that disappears. If they disappear, 25% of the marine world will disappear, okay? And that will affect the oxygen we breathe and blah, 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 right? So in our case, what we're saying is to be ocean positive. What we're doing is we're actually planting corals that have a 97% survival rate. And in that way, we're actually, other people plant trees or clean oceans or whatever, we're actually adopting corals. Today on Ocean Days, we're actually adopting corals for every customer for us. So that's the way for us to be ocean positive. Now, another non-diplomatic chart, but this is very important for all of us, okay? This is the issue that we're having right now across the board. There's a lot of this famous greenwashing word, right? Because everybody's talking about we're doing when we're actually not doing. And so to me, what really bothers me about this is that this distracts people from actually doing. So this is what I call the green wishing, right? And so what I say is, if it's not a question of being perfect in our business, it's a question of having progress. It's okay, let's just do what we can. Don't worry about what you cannot do, and then do it next season or do it next year. I talked about the planet, but this is about people as well, which I don't want to extend a lot, but this is about making sure we are actually responsible with the people that we work. This is the Rana Plaza, which actually collapsed in 2013. It's a factory in Bangladesh that killed more than 1,000 people who were not having minimum salaries, not even the living salaries. So, we're very committed to making sure that that is happening across the business with different collaborations. So, just to finish on circularity, this is the way we've been doing up to now. I take natural resources, take it, make it, I consume, and then I throw it to waste. That's basically, you buy, you wear, and you throw away. This is where we need to go, right? So you can have raw materials, but you can also take them from recycling, you design, you put them on the stores to sell, you consume, you collect, and you go back into the raw materials. So this is our basic formula on how we should reinvent our business model. It's not easy, it's not cheap, nobody has the formula, but it's the way we need to start evolving. And we don't have to move again to everything has to move here, not at all, but we need to start exploring with all of you as well, what is the right way to do this? Because we cannot keep taking the natural resources that are not there in the earth anymore. So this is also Ellen MacArthur Foundation, the way she talks about circularity. I love this foundation. They're like really very strong. And so what they're saying is you phase out the substances, and the microfiber release that I was telling you about. You increase clothing utilization. You don't throw it away so fast. You buy better. Maybe it's more expensive, but it's going to take longer to be destroyed. You radically improve your recycling, and then you make effective use of resources and move to renewable inputs, and then it goes back again, okay? I'm saying this very quickly, but I think it's the thought of, it's not about producing, using, and throwing it away. There's new ways of doing it, okay? And yes, it's complex, and yes, it's expensive sometimes. I always say sustainability is inconvenient, because to do it right, sometimes you can't do the business that you need to do, but it has to force us to look at business in a different way. So I want to leave you with one of my heroines, one of the women that I really, really admire, Sylvia Earle. When I worked for National Geographic years ago, I was able to meet her, and she's amazing. I believe she's 80 now, and she's been like over 6,000 hours underwater, and she's the one that started talking about the ocean health when nobody talked about this, right? She's trying to protect the ocean. So she says something that I really love, which is, we are the most important people who have ever lived on Earth, because technology is now giving us all the power to know, demand change, and to stop treating our oceans as a free grocery store and a garbage dump, right? And so what I like about this is that she's talking about all of us, all of us. Talking about the ocean, but we can talk about the earth, we can talk about people. This is the talent that needs to spend a couple of days thinking about how should we do business that are really profitable for our companies, but are actually responsible for people and planet, okay? So my last sentence is, act as if what you're doing makes a difference, because it does. Thank you very much. I hope I get to spend time these 2 days with you. Thank you.